Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sarah from cats.com, where we're all about cats. And today's video is going to be a full comprehensive review of the PetSnowy automatic litter box. PetSnowy sent me this litter box to review about a month ago, so I've been using it as Gordon's exclusive litter box. And let me just say, this is definitely a big investment as a litter box. It retails for $699, although they do have some sales. But because this is such a big investment, I want to make sure I talk about all the details, including the setup, the app, Gordon's reaction. So let's start from the beginning. So I got the PetSnowy all set up. It is actually surprisingly easy to set up. They also give you these enormous instructions, which I think is kind of funny, but no need to read any fine print. They have these like gigantic instructions for you. So love that. It does make it very easy. Really, the only thing you have to do to set this up is take it out of the box, which is probably the hardest part. And then you need to plug in the PetSnowy to an outlet. Now, this is where I realized normally I put Gordon's litter box in the bathroom, but I realized I actually don't have any outlets in the bathroom. So this is where it's going.
Are you excited for your litter box?
Then press the restart button, which just like recalibrates the machine. Wait for a few minutes, and then it's pretty much set up at that point. The only remaining things is then you have to put this litter mat down, which, you know, takes 2 seconds. And then you just have to put litter in the globe area, put the lid back on, and then it says it's ready to go. So now let's get a little bit deeper into the design of this litter box. So as you can tell, it's a little bit more of a square shape than what you'll see with a lot of automatic litter boxes. So it's 20 inches on one side by 29.5 inches on the other. There is some flexibility with what sort of litter you use in this. I just use a litter that is provided by PetSnowy, which is just a clumping clay-based cat litter. And that is what they recommend using with this litter box. However, they also say you can use silica-based cat litter as long as it will fit through the grates. And you could even use tofu or any sort of plant-based cat litter. However, they do say for any plant-based cat litter that you'll probably need to change it out more often, just because plant-based cat litter is more prone to sort of disintegrating and doesn't quite have the longevity as some of the more mineral-based cat litter. So definitely keep that in mind. And then this can work for cats 3 pounds to 20 pounds. So it should work for most adult cats, but you know, this is not going to work if you have really small kittens. So just keep that in mind. So in terms of the design, we can compare this to something like the litter robot that just has a really big open globe, and you can actually see the litter visually from outside the litter box. The PetSnowy is a little bit different because the litter is a little bit more hidden inside the machine. So it has the litter globe over here. This is where all the litter goes. This is also what rotates to clean out the litter. But unlike the litter robot, I would say the main difference in the design is that you have this little entryway. So it's pretty cute. You have this little curtain here, and it's basically like a little 2-room house almost, where you have a little entryway, and then you go into a second room, which is the litter globe. But you can also access the litter from above through this door. So you know, it's still easy access to the litter. What I like about this design is a few different things. I think it's a little bit more discreet, especially because this litter box is right in my entryway of my apartment. I like to not have to open my door and immediately see litter. So I think this is a little bit more understated in that way. I also like that I think it reduces the tracking quite a bit. So there is a little removable mat in this entryway area that collects litter. And when I've cleaned out that litter tray, I can definitely tell that a lot of the litter is accumulating in this entryway area that normally would be on the floor. So the amount of tracking I've had outside litter box is pretty minimal. There definitely is still tracking, like you still have to clean up outside the litter box, but the amount of tracking is really pretty small for the most part. However, the biggest downside, I would say, of this design is it's harder to tell visually if something is wrong with the litter box, or, for example, you need to clean out the litter, because you can't see it. So you really have to rely on the app notifications, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or you have to rely on these kind of error messages on the front here because you're not going to be able to see the litter. The other thing to keep in mind is because the actual litter globe is a little bit hidden in here, I think that it makes the transition for your cat a little bit more difficult because you can't see the litter and they can't see the litter either. So what they recommend is you can actually keep this door open. Where is it? You can keep this door open when you're transitioning your cat onto this litter box, just so they can, I don't know, access it a little bit more easily. What I did is I just put Gordon in it a few times. Like I opened the door and just put him in there just to make sure he knew that this was his new litter box and there was litter inside of this. And then under the litter globe is this drawer here. So this is where the litter is actually collected. So after your cat uses the litter box, the globe will rotate. It rotates between 4 and 6 minutes after they use litter box, and you can actually set that in the app. And then all of the clumps will go down in this little waste collection drawer inside of this little bag. And yeah, that's basically how the design works. In terms of the core functionality, I think it has worked really well. Like it has rotated when it's supposed to. All the litter has ended up in this, bottom compartment. So I think in terms of the core functionality, it has worked really well. On the website, they claim that you can go up to 14 days without changing the litter. I don't know who is going a full 14 days with this thing. With Gordon, I've had to change it about every week or so. So maybe if you have like a tiny kitten that's just over 3 pounds, then you could get away with every 14 days. So I think if you had multiple cats, it would definitely be multiple times a week for sure that you have to change out the litter. On the front of the litter box, you'll see 3 different buttons. So these are how you can control the different mechanical workings of a litter box. So first you have the clean button. So this will cause the litter globe to rotate. So if for whatever reason the litter has not automatically turned over, or if you think there's some extra clumps that weren't caught originally, you can use the clean button to clean it again. There's also the trash button. This is if you want to totally remove all the litter and replace it. And then finally you have the refresh button. The refresh button is going to be important if you add new litter. So basically it's going to reset the weight. So you need to make sure it has an accurate weight of what the starting point is, so it knows, when something has changed. So you can use the reset button, and then all of these buttons are also accessible via the app. The app is super easy to set up. You just connect it to your Wi-Fi, and then it will automatically find the litter box. It took me literally 2 minutes to set it up. You can also set a profile for each of your cats and just put their weight. So it will try to recognize which cat is the one actually using the litter box. And then in the app, it'll show you a record of basically everything that's happened in the litter box. So when it's been used, when it was cleaned. And then you also see any sort of error messages or alerts alerting you of things like that you need to change litter or stuff like that will show up in the app. One thing I do like about this is it's actually not required to use the app. I know a lot of people don't really want one more app to track things. And so for the first at least week or 2 that I had this, I actually didn't realize there was an app, and I was using it totally without the app, and it worked totally fine. It will just alert to any problems with the error messages on the front. This little cloud turns different colors, and there's different codes based on the color it is. And you can see what the codes mean. There's a little kind of cheat sheet of the codes on this top area inside the lid. And then you can also look in the user manual to see what they mean. So if you don't want to use the app, you totally don't have to. On their website, the PetSnowy claims to go no higher than 53 decibels, and that's at peak noise level. I tested it out for myself while the PetSnowy was in cleaning mode, and I confirmed that in my tests, it did not get any louder than 50 decibels, and it was really more towards the mid 40s range. So really what that means is this is going to be maybe a little bit louder than a refrigerator, but quieter than a quiet background conversation. And that's at peak noise level. And as you can hear, or maybe not hear, it really makes no noise at all when it's not running. So I think the noise level is not an issue whatsoever. It's only going to make a little bit of noise right when it's actively cleaning, but for the rest of the time, it's completely silent. For the most part, I would say the odor control of this litter box is really pretty good. There's been very few times where I've noticed any odor at all. And if I do, it's like right after he's used a litter box or something like that, or right when I'm changing the litter out. So they use a 3-step odor control system. The first is what we already talked about, and that's the fact that the actual litter box is separated. So just having this separation with this little curtain and everything does control some of the odor. They also have a UV light, which they say will help kill the bacteria or fungi or anything that could also be causing odor. And then finally, there is actually a fragrance compartment. Again, this is optional. You don't have to use a fragrance if you're sensitive to fragrance or anything like that. But in the back of this little entryway area, there's a compartment where you can add a fragrance pod that comes, 2 of them come with the premium kit. So you can add that in there. And that also helps just like mask any odor that's going on. So when it comes to safety, there are some safety mechanisms at play. So the most important things is there is a weight sensor and an anti-pinch system. So if this recognizes that a cat is in the litter box, it will not turn. Also, if it's in the process of cleaning and your cat enters, it will stop immediately and then it won't restart again until at least 15 seconds after your cat has already left the litter box again. So those are the main things, as well as it does have a notification system. If it senses there's any sort of problem, you will be alerted both on the front of the machine as well as the app itself. So far I haven't had any problems with the any safety issues or anything, but there are some safety mechanisms in place. And that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. Let me know in the comments any other questions you have about this litter box or any other litter boxes you'd like to see me review on this channel. And until next time, bye.